Coming to you direct from Silencer Shop Studios, home of the Glass Case of Emotion.
SilencerShop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
Oh, so much to talk about. I really don't even know where to begin. So let's just begin at the beginning. Welcome to Wednesday, freaks and hippies. I'm glad that you decided to join us. And even if you didn't decide to join us on Wednesday, even if you save these up and binge listen all weekend when you're out in your shop, that's cool. You can do that. Now, I know a lot of you freaks and hippies out there are listening to me during the week at your shop. So good job. Good job for that. How many holster makers we have in the audience? Whoop, whoop! Raise your hands in the air like you just don't care. You know you freaks are out there. We got a lot of freaks. Oh, man. I tell you what. How's your week going so far? How's it going? Pretty good, huh? Are you ready for the... It's the final countdown. I can't even... Jared, are you been annoying? Have you been annoying?
Of course not.
Have you been avoiding your feeds?
I actually don't, because my feed is exactly how I want it to be.
I've been trying. Yeah, we have this conundrum because people want, if we don't talk about a topical story, people get bunged up and they're like, how come you're not talking about that? But some of it is just so.
Because we don't want to. How about that?
I don't even know. I don't know. But I do know this. I do know that we'd like to welcome all the brand new listeners. Thank you to everybody out there who recently discovered Student of the Gun. And word of caution, you're not going to get it the first time. If you do, then you'll be the first one. But that's okay.
I do want to tell you guys something, though.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, if you don't hear us talking about something you want to hear talked about, then pull out your phone. All right, now open up the voice recorder app. Now talk about that thing. Now play it back and listen to yourself talk about it.
Play it back.
There. That was your instructions on how to hear what you want to hear about.
I hear what you want to hear.
Yeah.
That's something that we ask questions. This is a good advice for your children. You tell your children, you say, children, gather around. I want to give you a piece of advice. As adults, we ask questions to seek clarification and to find answers that we currently don't have. We don't ask questions to hear our own opinions repeated back to us. If you want to hear your own opinion, go stand in front of the mirror and talk. But the reason we ask questions is because we need clarification or we need answers. We need to gain information. So that's why we tell your children that. See, that's the whole reason we ask questions, kids, is to gain information and to seek clarification. How's that sound? Does that work for you, Jared? Someday when you have kinder, you need to remember that. That little tiny piece of advice right there that I just dispensed into the black carbon steel microphone, that may or may not be in a new book that's upcoming from somebody who looks a lot like me. Hint, hint. Hint, hint.
You got a double?
Someone who looks a whole lot like me may be working on a new book. Just saying. Oh, Jared? Do you have your fitness topic already?
Actually, no.
No, you don't? Oh, okay.
I completely forgot to
Did you totally space about the fitness topic?
I should probably look that up.
Now, I guess a good question for you is, are we going to remind our friends about the upcoming event that's actually this coming Saturday?
Sure, let's do that.
Oh, man. So if you don't know, for some reason you're like, there's a live event this coming Saturday? Well, I don't know. Well, perk up your ears, hippies, because Jared, somebody who sounds a lot like me, is about to hip you to that fact. Hey, this is Professor Paul Markle, host of Student of the Gun Radio and the Pimp Hand of America, and I'm inviting you to join the entire Student of the Gun crew on November 5th at 11 a.m. in the morning at Brothers in Arms Gun Range in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Come out and help us celebrate freedom, liberty, your Second Amendment rights, and in addition to all that, I'm going to tell you how to get the most out of one box of ammo. Well, there you go, and now you know. And what did G.I. Joe tell you? That knowing was half the battle. You just dropped that one. You just dropped it.
What?
Dropped it like it was hot. That's what you did. Dropped it like a rock. All right, is enough nonsense for you freaks and hippies? Oh. Well, we're going to talk about fighting fitness, brought to you by SWAT Fuel. But before we do that, I am obliged to remind you that we have a friend. Well, we have many friends up there in Missouri, and they work at a place called Crossbreed Holsters. And they make the most comfortable in-the-waistband holster you're ever going to buy or wear. That's just the way it is. You can buy a cheaper holster and regret it, or you can just buy a quality holster and move on with your life. It's up to you. But I would go to crossbreedholsters.com. That's what I would do. Where do you get Frog Lube? Well, you can get it from Brownells, or you can get it from froglube.com. Why do you want it? Well, because you can Frog Lube your sword, you can Frog Lube your gun, you can Frog Lube your handcuff hinges, and what else? You can Frog Lube your hair clippers. You can Frog Lube your can opener. We're all the time coming up with new uses for Frog Lube. Your steel drum, whatever. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to point you in the right direction. So, Frog Lube, it's green, it's minty fresh, and it is indeed extreme. Century Arms, the makers of the sweetest smelling arms. I just jacked that up. They're the sweetest smelling arms maker in the US of A. They might make sweet smelling arms, but they're the sweetest smelling arms maker in the US of A. Speaking of which...
Hold on. Rewind, because I don't know what you messed up. It sounded like you said it correctly.
No, I said makers of the sweetest smelling arms.
Oh, you did? Yeah, okay.
That's what... Is this live radio? It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's not short form. Speaking of which, do you follow our mutual friend from Century on the Instagram-age?
No. I mean, yeah, but I don't, look at my Instagram a lot. I probably should.
You missed out on something. And that's all I'm going to say. Moving on. Duracoat. Why? Because life is too short to have an ugly gun. Go to LauerWeaponry.com, or while you're poking around on Brownells.com, you can buy Duracoat products there. But whatever you do, make sure you get yourself an official Student of the Gun tattoo. All right, freaks, it's time for some fighting fitness. Brought to you by SWAT Fuel.
What he meant to say is it's almost time for some...
Almost time.
Yeah.
It's almost time, yeah.
You can do your Bruce Buffer.
My Bruce Buffer. It's time. And didn't his brother trademark the "Are you ready to rumble"? I think his brother, because the Buffers. Am I speaking correctly? I think the Buffers. I think they're brothers, and one of them trademarked "Are you ready to rumble"? I believe, but that may be a topic for another day. All right, freaks, listen up. Physically fit woman, nice, sweet, fantastic. Big body ocean at the big Titanic woman, and nice, sweet, energetic. Big body ocean at the big Titanic woman, nice, sweet, fantastic. Big body ocean at the big Titanic woman, and nice, sweet, fantastic. Big body ocean at the big Titanic woman. I like to move it. I like to move it. I like to move it. You like to move it. I like to move it. I like to move it.
You know how we've told you guys, or we've talked about how you have to earn your nickname, and how I've stated publicly that you're a tool if you choose your own nickname? Yes. It's a true story. I mean, you need to hear it from somebody, and I'll be that guy.
True story.
Yes. I want you to treat your status like your nickname. And what do I mean by that? So I was listening to an individual talk about everything that they have accomplished. And I don't like that. I don't like to listen to people talk about themselves. I don't talk about myself, so I don't expect you to. So it made me think. I was like, why don't we treat our status, our social status, our public status, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, like our nickname. Make yourself great enough so that other people will talk about what you've done.
I got you.
And because if you have to tell somebody about what you've accomplished, then you're a tool, and you probably have not accomplished that much.
Well, that is true, but I also found that I'm not taking away from anything you said, but sometimes you have to blow your own horn.
No, I agree.
I mean,
I agree. But if you're that dude that does it all the time, yeah.
Well, here's one I'll give you.
Yeah, I was going to put a caveat in there.
Caveat: I don't need your resume every time I talk to you.
Yes,
there
that is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, every time I talk to you, I don't need your resume. I get it. We get it. We all get it. So
if somebody asks you, then okay, tell them. If you've done something, okay. So my caveat was going to be if you own a business and you're trying to sell your product.
Well, you have to establish SME credentials.
Well, you have to be your biggest salesman. That's just, if you have a valuable product and you truly believe that it's going to help somebody or help your customer, then you have to be able to sell your own product because you're going to be your best salesman. Nobody's going to sell your product that you created as good as you will.
Well, and I've been a victim of that where
I'm sorry, I need to correct myself. Some people will be better at selling it than you, but they won't have the same passion that you have.
There you go. I've been a victim of that where it dumbfounds me. How long have we been doing this? Okay. We've been doing this radio show for going on 4 years. Not 4 years yet, but over three and a half-ish years, right? Been doing the TV show we just finished season 6, so do the math. I've been writing professionally. Someone wrote me a check and said, that was good, here's a check for it. For 25... Well,
30?
No, not 30 years yet. 1993. Okay. So do the math there. So I've been playing this game for a while, right? And I don't hide what I've done. Like a lot of things that I talk about it, I demonstrate it, or whatever, write about it. And I'm writing about it based on my own personal experience, whether it was as a Marine, a police officer, a professional bodyguard, whatever. And I use those experiences to base my opinions upon them. Believe it or not, I base my opinions on real life experience, not just my feelings. But people will say, like, actually, somebody said the other day, they're like, it was about the AK, the Hug Your AK thing.
Yeah.
And our good friends, a lot of our good friends shared that. A lot of our good friends in the industry jumped on board with it. Frog Loop jumped on board with it. Century jumped on board with it. And these are just off the top of my head that I know shared the Hug Your AK Day. And Cold Steel. They shared it.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to. I mean, they're not obligated in any form or fashion to support us, but they just do because we're like-minded individuals.
What he meant to say is, Andy, you have to share it.
Yeah, Andy, share it. No, but someone jumped in and commented about my picture holding my AK, saying that if I was such a tough guy, why didn't I pick up a rifle and join the Army or the Marines and defend my country? That's a good point.
Yeah, you should just say you're right.
Yeah. I think I said something like you can go fornicate yourself or something like that. But
consume
you're such a tough guy. Why don't you pick up a rifle and join the military and then that's good advice. I should do that.
Yeah.
I should do that. So, but I get to the point where somebody said something the other day about how do you know what the laws are? I'm like, God, I really try not to do the whole, this is what I've done and this is where I've been. But like, how do you know, Mr. Smart Guy, what the law is? I don't know. I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. But like, really, seriously, I come to this microphone having been involved in this whole menagerie of professional gun carrying worldwide for 30 years, literally.
Yeah.
Like 30 years.
You know what? I had to literally pin him down with, it was while he had his handcuffs on. I had to leave the handcuffs on and I had to say, stupid. If you don't give me a full biography of you so I can pass it off to somebody else, then I'm not going to let you out of those handcuffs. And then he said, well, you have to let me out of these handcuffs so I can do that. And then that happened. So I think people are, not everybody knows what you're talking about, so they might be taking that out of context. Some people might not have seen the California legal video. Well, you should go look on the student.
If you haven't seen the We had actually a California legal rifle adapter kit, so we could make it California legal.
The
kit.
Yeah.
And if you didn't see it, if you're one of the 130 other thousand people saw it, but if you didn't, then go back and watch it. So.
Well, the main takeaway that I wanted you guys to have from the fighting
What
fitness,
is the main takeaway?
Yeah, from the fighting fitness segment this week is make yourself great enough that others will talk about you. And I actually saw this on a sign the other day, and it said, "Have you ever met a hater that is doing better than you?"
No. That word, I despise that word.
What word?
Because what you just said, hater.
Oh, it makes me think of corn.
Because it's a hipster word.
That
word did not exist when I was a young person. That was a word it's like hoodie. The word hoodie did not exist when I was your age. It was created by hipsters. That's why it makes me cringe.
But hater actually has English. It actually works in the how
I know, but
you
it
use
didn't
the English
exist.
language and
it
you
didn't exist
put the
when
word
I was
together.
a kid. No one, yeah.
So because
you could
it
do Star
didn't-
Wars
wait.
language like binders and blasters, and you could speak everything literally. Do you ever notice that how everything in Star Wars is literal?
I have a question.
What?
Did the internet exist when you were a kid?
No.
Okay, I just
Well, maybe. I don't know. Those nuclear scientists, may have. You know that the internet was invented so that scientists can communicate, so that super smart people could communicate with each other in the event of a nuclear holocaust.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Hey, we can make some money."
You know
off
that's
this.
right. You know that's true, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I didn't know it was because in the
Yeah,
case of
it was like
nuclear
it was
holocaust,
like a
but I thought it was-
post-apocalyptic communications. They're like, well, we need to come up with something other than phones.
What? If it's post-apocalyptic, how are they going to use the internet?
I'm just.
I think that was the intranet.
No, but
Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know, but
Now I'm just confused.
what does
people.
www stand for? We've lost our minds here. I love it when people tell you like their website address. They're like, our website address is www. And I just cringe. My head just drops down into my hands.
Did you know that you can actually set them to be different? You could we could have studentofthegun.com as one domain and www. is something else. Because www is actually a subdomain of studentofthegun.com. Now your mind
you
is
lost half
really,
of everyone.
yeah.
Here's the deal. Go to your search engine and type in these words and you'll get what you want. Who actually sits and types the exact? Now you kids don't know the struggle. When I was a younger man, I used to have to type in HTTP :
You mean HTTP?
HTTP : / www. We used to actually have to type in the entire address in order to get it to go to the right place. I know you don't know the struggle.
I actually do that sometimes. I just find myself typing it, and I'm like, why do I do this?
Because you're a coder. All right, coder.
I'm not a coder.
You're not
Don't
a coder.
put that out there in the world.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a free training video series called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. We want you to have access to this life-saving information. Get instant access now at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of those questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
All right, kids. The next story or the next topic of discussion, gun control is mind control. This actually, it took place during one of the grad program bonus hours. I was talking, and I just kind of went off on a whole tangent about this, and I decided, well, I need to write it. I need to write it down. And one of the reasons I wanted to write it down was so that you kids out there would have some quick, fast ammunition to shoot down the morons in your life. Because I know, sadly, all of us encounter feelings-driven mush brains who will tell you, oh, but we've got to do this, but we've got to because blah, 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 because I think with my feelings, not with my brain. And that's part of the problem, is in order for someone... Yeah, yesterday we talked about an unarmed person trying to tell me that I had to disarm myself, and I explained to them that they were incorrect and that I was not going to be disarming myself, and pointed out the fact that they, conversely, were unarmed. And so I want you to understand that as an American citizen, a citizen of the United States of America, that country that was codified and formed in the blood of the American Revolution, and then we put together this thing called the Bill of Rights and the U.S. Constitution and all that. Now, if you are an American citizen and you own firearms, and the only way that you can be disarmed, well, there's two ways you can be disarmed. You can be killed by representatives of the state. The representative of the state can come and kill you and take your guns because now you're dead. Okay, and that happens often. But the other way is for you to surrender them. You can't really be disarmed while you're alive, but you can be encouraged to voluntarily surrender. And in order to encourage you, a person who gets up every day, goes to work, pays his taxes and his bills and raises his kids, and also has firearms because you are a citizen of the United States of America. And someone comes along and they say, you know what? We all got together and we decided that you can't have that anymore. You say, but I've had this object here for years. Well, that may be, but we went to this room in the state capitol and we all sat down and we all decided, because we know better than you, that you can't have that anymore. And you must surrender it. You must give it up because we said so. And you say to yourself, you said, but the whole reason that we have a Bill of Rights is to protect the rights of the individual citizens against the insanity and the tyranny of mob rule. So it doesn't matter whether you're in the minority. If you have a natural right or a God-given right, you don't have to be in the majority to maintain that right. That's the beauty of actual rights, and that's why there are so few of them. But there are forces at work every single day to convince you that you should indeed voluntarily surrender. And in order to do that, they could send agents, armed agents of the state, around to find you and then kill you and take your guns from you. But that takes a lot of work. That's a lot of man hours, and there's some risk involved because not everybody's going to, be down with that. So what we have to do instead, the easier plan for the state. Now, keep in mind that gun control is mind control, because first and foremost, number one, why is gun control mind control? Because you must be convinced and must believe and must buy into the fact that people who work for the state, they work for the government. When I say the state, I mean the government. Stick with me. That they are different than you. That you can't be allowed to own a black rifle with a detachable magazine that holds more than X rounds, 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? You can't be allowed to have that because it's too dangerous. It's a super duper dangerous tool, and you aren't allowed to have one. Oh, but when we went to that building at the state capitol and we wrote that new malum prohibitum law, that new statute, we went ahead and wrote in there an exemption. If you work for the state, if you have a polyester uniform and a shiny badge, you're exempt from the law, and you can have those super mean, evil, nasty black guns. But you peasants over here, you're not allowed to have them. So the first step in mind control is to convince you that unless you work for the state, you actually are in a secondary or subservient class. That people who work for the state, that their lives are actually more important than your life. Because Why is it okay for state employees to have these guns, but not you? Well, because they need them to protect themselves from bad people and criminals and crazy patriots and people with Gadsden flags. But don't I need something to protect myself and my family and my community and my liberties? No, you don't. Because you're not responsible, because you don't work for the government. Oh, okay. So that's step one, to convince you that people who work for the state have more rights or their lives are more valuable than yours. Another part of why gun control is mind control, because you must be brainwashed into believing that surrendering your rights to possess an inanimate objects, and that's what guns are, they're inanimate objects. They are neither good nor evil. They are just made of aluminum and steel and wood and plastic. But if you surrender that, if you give it to the state, if you bow your head and tell the state that, well, I guess you all got together and decided, so I can't have this anymore. That if you do that, well, that the rapist and the robber, the murderer, even the terrorist, they will somehow be hindered in their desire to commit those felonies against you and members of your community. Because if you surrender your rights to possess guns, well, that will make people who were previously disposed to commit heinous crimes, they won't be able to, or they won't want to. Gun control is mind control, because you need to be convinced that despite the fact that rape, robbery, murder, terrorism, extortion, all these things, despite the fact that those are all illegal and that there are malum inse, and that is, malum inse is a natural wrong, something that doesn't need to be explained. I don't need to sit you down and explain to you why murder is wrong and why robbery is wrong and felonious assault and stuff like that. I don't have to explain that to you. But those are all on the books, right? But that's not enough. You need to be convinced that the laws that your state has prohibiting murder, rape, kidnapping, robbery, that those laws are not enough to stop the criminals from doing those things. But if we can just pass one more gun control law, then the people that were going to do all those things, well, then they won't. You have to believe that. It makes no sense, but you have to believe it. You have to believe that since the NFA, since 1934, and you guys can do the math, more than 80 years of gun control, hundreds, actually thousands of restrictions and prohibitions from cities to states to the federal government, more than 80 years of gun control, but we don't have enough yet, and we just need more. I know, 80 years was a good start, and we're getting closer, but we just don't have it yet. You have to be convinced. You have to be convinced that the First Amendment gives people the right to burn your flag, to say all kinds of hateful, radical things in public, and that you just need to shut your mouth and let them do it because of the First Amendment. And the First Amendment cannot be infringed unless, of course, it's a white Christian conservative, and then we'll talk about that later. So the First Amendment allows people to burn flags and defecate on things and just do all kinds of nasty, heinous things under the umbrella of free speech. But Amendment number 2, well, you have to be convinced that the Second Amendment has actually been misunderstood over these many years, and the state is allowed to alter the Second Amendment pretty much in any way or fashion that they desire, because the Second Amendment doesn't really mean what it says. You have to be convinced of that. Oh, and you also have to be convinced that that whole private property clause in the Bill of Rights and how you cannot be denied of your private property without due course of law and, so on and so forth, that guns are not really private property because they're guns. I know you're pondering that. You're like, but I thought I bought it and paid for it and I owned it lawfully. Well, you thought that, but see, we all got together in this big room at the state capitol and decided it's not really your property anymore. And we're just going to decide that you're no longer allowed to have it. So there you go. Okay, thank you for explaining that to me. Gun control is mind control because you must be convinced that your feelings or your neighbor's feelings or the people at your kid's school feelings, or the soccer mom's feelings, how you feel about the subject of firearms is far more important, if not more so, than the actual facts of the matter. Gun control is mind control because you need to be emotionally motivated to just do the right thing, to not consider the reality of the situation, because feelings always trump facts. Because how you feel about something is more important than the way something actually is. How many of your friends and neighbors in mush brains who are for reasonable gun control? We're not saying ban all guns. No one's saying ban all guns. You shouldn't be able to have that kind of gun. What kind? The kind that has the thing that folds up and the thing in the front that folds down and the plastic thingy that you hold on to, those things? We shouldn't be allowed to have those because those are super scary looking. Yeah, those make me afraid. The final one that I'm going to talk about right now, the final reason why gun control is mind control is because you have to be convinced then rather than using the inanimate objects that you possess because the framers of the Constitution, because the people who put this whole country together, because they specifically said, hey, the only way to protect the rights of the individual against psycho mob rule and against organized government tyranny, there's only one way, and that is to allow the peasant to possess the sword, to ensure that every citizen has the means to resist tyranny and mob rule. But you must be convinced that those objects are so dangerous that rather than to use them to defend your liberty and the rights that are spelled out, instead, you're obligated to just peacefully surrender them. And that is the nut right there. Because, yeah, they'll come around if they need to. The agents of the state, they will come and they will make sure that you surrender under the barrel of a gun. And if you resist, they will kill you and then they will take them. That's just the way it is. But that's difficult and it takes a lot of time. It's easier just to tell the people that they're wrong and that the mob decided and that they just need to peacefully surrender and just be reasonable. And the only way you can do that, it's not through controlling an inanimate object. The only way that can be done, that can be accomplished by the state, is through mind control, is through thought control. And here at Student of the Gun, we've been hipping you to that for years. And how do we do that? How do you convince an ordinary armed citizen, a lawfully armed citizen, to voluntarily surrender their rights? 3 ways: ignorance, distraction, and guilt. Yes, sir. But if you guys want to go ahead and take home a free copy of the article, Gun Control is Mind Control? Jared, tell them how they can do that if they would like a free copy to take home with themselves and share with their friends and family. How can they do that?
You can go to studentofthegun.com and then you can click on the articles tab in the menu, or you can scroll down where there's basically a slider of all the new articles. I redid the front page of studentofthegun.com, so check it out anyway.
There you go. If you haven't been to studentofthegun.com lately, you need to go there because it's different. All right, it is Wednesday, and we've got some Brownell's bullet points for you. All right. Now, I've got an update for you guys on the AR pistol project. And we did an entire video. Well, we did a couple of different unboxing videos. And what we're going to be doing in the very, very, very near future is we're going to do a detailed pistol project upgrade where I will show you the pistol that it is completed. Now, not all, but a number of the products that I got. Now, like I said, the upper receiver, I got it from Palmetto State Armory. They don't sponsor us. They probably don't even know who we are. But they had what looked to me like a good deal on a pistol upper, so I bought it. And I went to the Brownells catalog, and once I bought the upper, and I was like, I dug around a little bit, and I said, I need one of these, and these, and these, and these. This is what I want to do. So, boom, I got the pieces and parts. And then I needed a lower receiver, and what I did is I needed to take a receiver off of an existing gun, so I went and I got another one. And it's actually a Stag Arms receiver that I've had for a while that I put on there. And then I put the pistol, like the pistol tube kit that I got from Brownells on there. And I've got a super special little thing on there called the Havoc launcher from Spikes Tactical. And was it season 5? I'm pretty sure it was season 5 that we did a whole segment about the launcher. Wouldn't you say, Jared? It's probably season 5.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we went out to the range and we popped smoke and flares and stuff. So you can check that out. But I'm thinking, I know it's kind of a douche move to name a gun. Well, maybe it's not a douche move. I don't know. But I'm thinking of calling it Hollywood. I know only a small percentage of the audience will get that reference, but I'm thinking maybe that it should.
All the grad program members definitely.
The grad program members know because they're hip cats, and they know the Hollywood story that Miss Nancy told. But I'm thinking of maybe doing that. What do you think, Jared? You know what I am going to do? What's that?
If you name it Hollywood, it has to have gold paint on it.
No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. But you know what Zach said? He said it looked like it should be a Halo weapon.
Oh yeah, it does. I think so too.
He said it looked like it should be in Halo, but it's a real gun. No, I am actually going to take it out to the range, and I'm going to shoot it and heat it up before I Duracoat it, because what do you know? When you're doing a Duracoat project, you need to start with a good, or you need to finish with a good start. Finish with a good start. You need to prep it, and then you need to prepare it. You need to color it, and then you need to leave it alone and not take it directly out to the range like you want to do. And so what I will do is I will Duracoat it, and then I will set it aside, and I'll leave it alone for, I don't know, a week or two before I go out and I actually hack it around on the range. But I don't think I can wait that long to get that done. So I might have to go shoot it first and then bring it back, strip it down, clean it, and Duracoat it. Because it is assembled right now. It's all together. All the pieces, parts, like the muzzle brake and all that. It's all together. But I haven't shot it yet. So I think I need to do that. And then when I Duracoat it, of course, I'm going to take it apart again. Somebody was like, well, what you should have done is before you put it together, you should have just Duracoated it. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I wanted to see what it's going to look like. I'm that guy. All right, so all this month, Brownells is going to be, this is AR month. November is AR month. And what I want you guys to do is just pop over to brownells.com and check out what they've got. They're going to run specials. Every week in the week of November, they're going to be running a special. But you can't know about it, and you won't know about it until you just go there. So there you go. I don't know what else to tell you. I can tell you this, that this weekend when I went shopping, there was still a lot of stuff on the shelves. So there's no reason in the world for you not to have what you want to have. The only thing I couldn't find at the Academy, I told you I bought their last 40-round PMAG. Other than that, they had everything else in stock. So, and I guess with that, it's about time for me to close my mouth. What do you think, Jared? Are you going to give my homework assignment real quick?
Yeah, your homework assignment is to go to studentofthegun.com, click on the articles tab at the top menu bar, and then read the gun controller's mind control article.
And if you appreciate it, or if you have thoughts or what have you, you are cordially invited to leave a comment and also to share it. We will allow you to do that. You can even we'll let you take it home with you, but just this one time. Sound good? All right, freaks. Now, tomorrow, tomorrow's Thursday, And we are going to talk about counter violence, surviving deadly encounter, or a deadly encounter. I should change my notes and put an A in there. But counter violence, surviving a deadly encounter, tomorrow on Student of the Gun Radio. So be there or be square. Peace out, hippies.